Clinton's heart pounded as he walked into the kitchen. The air in the kitchen was thick with tension. Last night's fight still stung and he wanted to talk about it, but Nellie remained distant. He tried again, but it seemed hopeless. He inhaled deeply before speaking. "Nellie, we need to talk." She looked up. "About what?" Clinton clenched his jaw. "You know exactly what. This can't continue. Every day, we fight over the same things. I come home to a mess, no food, and an argument waiting for me. I work all day, Nellie. And when I come home, I just want peace." She rolled her eyes. "So now I'm the one ruining your peace?" Clinton's patience was slipping. "I'm not saying that. But you need to meet me halfway. We don't have kids yet. What's so difficult about keeping the house tidy or making dinner once in a while?" Nellie looked up, her eyes flashing with defiance. "Clinton, I am not a housemaid. I have my own life and interests. Just because I don't work a 9 to 5 doesn't mean I should be slaving away." Besides, Nellie said, "You're always busy." Clinton laughed bitterly. "Your own things? You watch TV all day, scroll through social media and order takeout. What exactly are these important things you do?" Her lips pressed together. "You know what? I don't owe you an explanation." Frustration bubbled in his chest. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. You refuse to listen, refuse to change, refuse to compromise. This marriage is starting to feel one-sided, Nellie. I'm tired." She folded her arms, refusing to respond. Then she said quietly, "Maybe you should start asking yourself why things are the way they are." With that, she stormed out of the room. Clinton stood frozen for a moment, staring at the empty doorway. His heart ached, but the anger remained. He grabbed his coat and left the house, slamming the door behind him, the sound of it echoing through the quiet morning. At the office, Clinton tried to focus on the stack of paperwork in front of him, but his mind wandered. The conversation with Nellie kept replaying in his head, every word digging deeper into his conscience. It had felt like they were stuck in a never-ending loop, unable to break free. His phone buzzed on the desk, and he glanced at the screen. Sandra's name flashed up. He hesitated. It had been a while since they'd caught up, but his mind was too clouded with everything that had happened at home. Still, he picked up. "Hey, Clinton." Sandra's voice was warm, familiar. "It's been a long time. How about we grab lunch today? Just like old times, you know." Clinton sighed, his fingers tapping restlessly on the desk. "I don't know, Sandra. I'm not really in the mood for company today." Sandra's voice softened, sensing his frustration. "Come on, old friend. It's just lunch. You deserve a break, and I promise it'll just be a casual catch-up. Nothing serious." Clinton hesitated. The thought of seeing someone who knew him well, who could offer a bit of comfort, appealed to him more than he cared to admit. "All right, I'll join you. Where do you want to go?" The restaurant was a cozy spot, tucked away on a quiet street, the kind of place where you could sit for hours without feeling rushed. Sandra smiled, waiting for Clinton. "You look good," Clinton said, taking a seat across from her. Sandra grinned. "Thanks, you too. How's everything been going? Work life?" He exhaled, rubbing his temple. "Honestly, it's been tough. I feel like I'm talking to a wall most days. No appreciation, no effort. Just arguments. We're just not on the same page anymore." Sandra's eyes softened, her voice lowering to a more serious tone. "I'm sorry to hear that. But you know, I've always thought you and Nellie had this great connection. You two always seem to understand each other so well. We're strangers now, always fighting. I don't think she gets me anymore." Sandra leaned forward, her expression intent, almost sympathetic. "I get it, Clinton. I really do. But it sounds like she doesn't appreciate you. Not the way you deserve. You're such a good guy kind, hard-working, always putting others first. And that's one of the things I love about you." He was speechless, stunned by her words and admiration. "It's just that she's always so focused on her own problems, her own frustrations. It's like I'm invisible." Sandra smiled, a knowing look in her eyes. "You're not invisible, Clinton. Maybe she's just taking you for granted. Maybe she's so caught up in her own world that she doesn't realize what she's about to lose. Clinton shifted in his seat, feeling the weight of her words settle deep in his chest. Maybe you're right, but maybe I expect too much. She leaned forward. No, you're not. You're a hard-working man. Any woman should be grateful to have a husband like you. If I were in her shoes... She shook her head. If you were in her shoes... She smiled wistfully. I just mean, I always thought... You and I had a good understanding. We never had to force things. It was just natural. I always assumed we'd end up together. For a moment, it felt like everything was right. Like he was finally understood. It's never too late to be happy, Clinton, she said, smiling at him. Later that evening, Clinton walked into his house expecting the same cold atmosphere. But as soon as he stepped inside, the scent of freshly cooked food hit him. The kitchen was tidy, and a steaming plate of dinner sat on the table. Nellie stood by the stove, her back to him, stirring something in a pot. Surprised, he asked, Nellie? You made dinner? She smiled. I know things haven't been great between us. And I haven't been fair to you. I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way I acted this morning. I've been thinking about everything we said. Clinton didn't know how to respond. After everything that had happened, this was unexpected. You've been thinking about it? Nellie nodded. I've been a little harsh. I'll try harder, Clinton. I promise. I don't want us to keep fighting. He hadn't expected this, but part of him was relieved. I've been thinking a lot too, he said quietly. We both need to make an effort. They sat down to dinner, the conversation lighter now. For a brief moment, it felt like they were on the same page again. But deep down, Clinton couldn't shake the feeling that things were still fragile, still hanging by a thread. Later that night, as they relaxed on the couch, watching TV, the phone rang. Clinton picked it up, recognizing the number immediately. Pastor, Clinton said, his voice tinged with curiosity. Clinton, Nellie. The pastor's voice was grave. I'm calling because the Lord has put something on my heart. I need to tell you both something. You must stay prayerful and vigilant. Do not let the hedge around your home be broken, or the enemy will enter. Nellie exchanged a confused look with Clinton, who was also trying to process the words. We've had some issues, Pastor, but we've reconciled, Clinton said. Thank you for your concern. The pastor's tone softened, but the urgency remained. I understand. Just be cautious. The enemy seeks to destroy what's good. Stay protected. Clinton nodded, hanging up the phone. He looked at Nellie, who seemed unsure. I don't know what that means, she said quietly. I don't either, Clinton replied. But we'll keep praying. Clinton's phone buzzed late at night. He looked at the screen. It was Sandra calling him. A sense of guilt washed over him, but he slid out of bed quietly, trying not to wake Nellie. Clinton? Sandra's voice was soft, almost whispering. I just wanted to talk for a minute. Is everything okay? Clinton sat on the edge of the bed, glancing at Nellie, who was sound asleep. Yeah, everything's fine. Just tired. Sandra persisted. Are you sure? You don't sound like it. I just wanted to hear your voice. Clinton hesitated, a small part of him craving the connection. I'm here. Just wanted to leave the room. He exhaled. Sandra, it's late. Sandra chuckled, the sound light and teasing. Clinton, I know, she said. I've been thinking about you. Can we meet for lunch again tomorrow? She asked. A long pause. Then, quietly, he said, Okay. I'll talk to you soon, Clinton said, his voice low. As he quietly returned to bed, Nellie stirred. Where were you? Clinton hesitated. Just checking if the doors were locked. A long silence. Then she simply said, Okay. Clinton lay there, wondering if she believed him or if she had heard the conversation. He felt a pang of guilt but pushed it aside. As the night dragged on, he lay awake, thoughts swirling. Was this really the right path? What was happening to his marriage? And where was this friendship with Sandra leading? Clinton didn't have the answers. But one thing was clear. His life was teetering on the edge, and the choices he made now would shape the future.